Hi, I'm Ajit Lenin. Welcome to the Enterprise Architecture video series part 2. We've been covering the 6-layer framework for establishing enterprise architecture practices. And the last few weeks, we've been covering the architecture domains layer. And last few weeks, we were deep diving into the business architecture. And continuing on the business architecture, we covered most of the components on the business architecture. And we'll finish our business architecture in this video with the detailed discussion on journeys. Right? So journey is not a typical component you would find in any of the business architecture in existing practices. Wherever you read, you may not find journeys as part of a business architecture definition. But in today's world, the journeys are becoming an important aspect of the business requirement for any projects we work on, right? So customer experience, it could be customer journeys or operational journeys. Journeys are becoming an important component of the business requirement. So I thought it is important to capture journeys as part of the component of the business architecture itself. So this is an attempt to define a model for journey so that it can be included as a component of the business architecture, right? So we will start with defining the journey itself. What is a journey, right? So whenever we talk about journey, we typically think about customer journeys, right? So the journeys need not be just the customer journey, right? It could be the customer journey, customer or employee journey, or it could be an journey of an entity, right? Where a business entity or a business component goes through its life cycle, right? So it could be a journey of an actor, it could be an employee or a customer, or it could be a journey of a business entity when it goes through either a single within a process or across multiple processes, right? And journey of an actor basically captures the actions the actor performs or the feedback actor gets, right? Basically the moments of interaction of for that particular actor, right? So when we say moment of interaction, it could be some action performed by the actor, or it could be something the actor receives, a feedback actor receives. In the case of a business entity, it captures the life cycle. It could be a complete life cycle or partial life cycle. A business entity goes through when it processes through the different business processes or a business function performs on it, right? So it's basically captures the change in status and also captures any relevant information that explains again the moment of interaction or moment of action, right? So journey, typically, why do we need journeys, right? Journeys needed to for us to identify operational issues or drive improvements, right? Typically, we use it for improving the customer experience, or it could be used to identify issues with operations and drive the operational efficiencies, right? So let's look at what are the different ways or types of journeys or different ways we can classify the journeys, right? So there are typically two ways we can classify the journeys. The journeys could be transactional or time bound. So when we say transactional, basically it starts with a transaction of interest, right? So when I say transaction of interest, it doesn't mean a start of a process, right? It could be in the middle of the process. It can end in the middle of a process. It can span across the processes, right? It's basically what is the business or the stakeholders' interest. It basically depends on the stakeholders' interest, right? So it starts with the transaction of interest and ends with the transaction where the interest ends, right? So that's the transactional type of journeys, and it basically can capture the journey of actors or it can capture business entities, it could be a time bound journey where we say that we want a monthly journey, or it could be a contract journey where a contract starts and expires after a duration, right? So it could be, typically it's a time bound journey, and time bound journeys are typically used for capturing the journey of a business entities, right? The actor entities or typically the customer journeys are all transactional, right? The actor and based entities may not be time bound, but business entities could be on the both transactional side as well as the time bound side, right? The other way of classifying the journeys is based on whether it's managed or unmanaged, right? The journeys need not be managed always. So managed journey means we define a journey in the business architecture itself, and the processes are defined and to align to the journey, right? So we use the journey to define our processes, right, to help us in designing the processes. And also, we on a runtime perspective, we can capture the actual journeys and compare against the definition, right? Or it could be an unmanaged journey. I need to make a correction there. So it's an unmanaged journey, which is not predefined, right? So we need not have a definition for a journey, but at a runtime, we can capture a journey which helps us in analyzing the business operations, identifying opportunities or issues, right? So journeys, we can just capture it as is. We don't need any definition. Those are unmanaged journeys, right? So typically 2 ways of classifying. So transactional and time bound, and managed and unmanaged. Let's look at some of the key characteristics of journey, right? So journey can be captured for an actor or a business entity. We saw that. It could be, say, for example, sales journey of a customer, journey of a code as a business entity when it goes through its life cycle, right? These are typical ways of where journey can be captured. The journey captures the relevant information on the moment of interaction or action, right? Basically, when I say action, it could be an interaction or a change in state in case of business entity. So it basically, when a moment happens, right? So at that moment, we basically, the intent of the journey is to capture as much as information, as relevant information as possible at that moment when that action happens, right? So for example, when a sales journey happens, let's say customer adds something to the shopping cart. So at that point, we want to capture what is captured, when was that order submitted, when the submission happens, when the shipment happens, what way the shipment happened, the delivery timeline. So whatever is the snapshot at that point of time is what we are looking for as a journey for that moment, right? Journey can start, we looked at this, journey can start at any point of time or end any point of the time, right? It need not be aligned to any business process, or it may not be aligned to any business service, right? It may not be aligned to the start and end. It could start in the middle of a process, end in the middle of another process, right? It's all matters is what is the focus, what is the stakeholders' interest, right? A journey can follow multiple paths and it can have multiple endpoints, right? So a customer can go through, say, for example, a sales journey, customer can go through a number of ways, right? So the sales process can go through a number of ways. It can end in a number of ways. Customer can simply cancel, abandon the cart and go away, right? So that's also a journey which ended in a different way, right? A journey can involve multiple actors, right? But it is defined for a specific actor. So we are always, journey has a subject, which can be an actor, but during that journey, there could be other actors involved in it. Say, for example, a sales journey, right? A B2B customer coming in for a sale, that may involve an agent helping the customer to create a quote, maybe submitting the order, whatever it is, right? So there are multiple actors involved in that, but the subject of the actor could be is one, right? So the focus probably is on customer or the employee, right? For managed journeys, there could be deviations, as we said. So when we capture the journey at runtime, it need not be the same as what we defined as a intended journey, right? So that at the runtime, whatever we capture against whatever we define, it helps us in defining the gaps, right? For example, if we are capturing an installation journey, right? Somebody is going to a customer premise to install a router, right? Maybe the router is defective, and that will lead to probably a different kind of a path which was not defined, right? So this helps us in refining the process so that the journey is defined, well defined and handled, all those exceptions is handled, right? So typically this managed journeys are very useful when we want to come up with an intended path, intended journey, and see how on the runtime the deviations are, and then take actions to fill those gaps, right? Now let's look at the components of the journey. What are the different components of a journey, right? So I'm typically splitting it into two parts. One is the journey management part, and then the runtime journey, right? So let's look at the runtime journey, right? So runtime journey is basically nothing but a collection of moments, right? So we are capturing a bunch of moments that subject is going through. So journey has a subject. It could be an actor or an entity instance in the runtime, right? So we are capturing a set of collection of moments that subject is going through, right? And on each moment, we want to capture as much relevant information as possible for regarding that moment, right? It could be data from a process that is running, the process instance, or it could be a state of an entity instance. It could be any entity that is part of the process which is relevant to that moment, or it could be the business function which is performing the action on the business entity, right? So it could be anything that is contributing toward the data, as long as that data is relevant for that moment, right? And this record is basically a snapshot of that moment, right? So we could probably create, on the next moment, we might capture the same data at that snapshot of it, but every moment we have to capture the snapshot of the data that is relevant for us, right? Journey has a subject for which the journey is captured, and subject can be an entity instance or an actor. Now, when we going through a managed journey, right? What is journey management, right? So each journey has a definition. So we have to define a journey, which is basically a collection of paths, right? We have to define a certain set of paths. It could be a number of paths, right? At least one path should be there. So, and we'll define a number of paths that actor or the business entity needs the subject, which is actually a business entity or a role, right? On a definition perspective, it is a role. So a business entity or role has to go the paths they traverse through as part of the journey, right? And each and path basically consists of a certain set of journey points. On the runtime, it becomes a moment. On conceptual level, on a model level, I'm calling it as a journey point, right? And a journey definition has a criteria, which is basically defining the when do the journey start and when does the journey end. It could be, as we said, it could be transaction based. When a particular transaction starts, the journey starts, or it could be time bound, saying that we want to capture the journey of a customer every month, right? Start of the month. What happens to the customer entity, right? So if the criteria start and end criteria is defined in the criteria. And at the journey definition level, we need to have a record map on to basically define that these are the data we want to capture. So from this particular process, these data we want to capture, these business entities, these attributes from the business entities I need to capture, right? So those I'm calling it as a record map. So journey definition level, we have a record map, and we can refine that record map at a journey point level, right? So at certain points, certain moments, we need to add more data to it to make it more relevant, right? So we can have an overall definition of what data we need to capture at the journey level, which is journey definition. We'll have the record map, and we can add to it at each moment level or journey point level in a conceptual way, right? Okay. So to summarize, journey definition has a subject. It could be business entity or a role. Journey definition is basically a collection of paths, and paths is a collection of journey points. And journey definition has a criteria, which is basically the start and end criteria. Journey definition as well as journey point can have the record maps, right? Now, quickly look at what are the different relationships journey can have, right? So journey, we looked at this in the previous slide. So journey is defined by a journey definition. Journey can be an actor, can be for an actor, or journey can be for an entity instance, right? So it can be the subject could be either an actor or an entity instance. Journey basically consists of a bunch of moments, right? There should be at least one moment for a journey. Similarly, a journey, when we look at journey definition, it consists of a set of paths, right? And there should be at least one path. Journey definition has a record map. Journey definition has criteria. So all this relationship we saw in the previous slides itself. So using all this relationship, how does a meta model for a journey looks like, right? This is a first attempt of defining a meta model. So we can include it in the business architecture. We can, as we go through, we can probably refine it in the later stages. But this is my first attempt. So I've split it into conceptual and the runtime, right? So on the conceptual level, we have journey definition, which consists of paths. Path consists of journey points. Journey definition has a record map, and also has a criteria, which basically gives a start and end criteria. Journey is for a subject. It could be either business entity or a role. So this is at the conceptual level. When it comes to runtime, so journey definition basically defines a journey, right? And journey points, we have moments which are instances of journey points, right? So moments are instances of journey points. Entity instance, which is an instance of business entity, and an actor who is an instance of role, right? So journey basically consists of moments. To the moment, we can have business function, process instance, entity instance, or an actor contributing data towards that moment, right? So based on the record map, right? And journey also is on a subject, which is either an entity instance or an actor, right? And each moment has a set of records, which is based on the record map definition. We are capturing the record from the data that is contributed by the business function or process instance, entity instance, or actor, right? So this is my first attempt towards a meta model for a journey, right? So to summarize, we looked at a basic introduction on journey. We looked at types of journeys, what journey management means, characteristics of journeys, we looked at the relationships and the meta model, right? And next, so this completes the business architecture portion of the architecture domains layer. From next week, we'll start looking into information architecture. Thank you.